Welcome back. Now we want to look at a multiplication of decimals. So this is a bit of a revision, so I want you to attempt this example that we have. Just want you to attempt this question. Evaluate. On part A we have 0.005 times 0.7, and on part B we've got 0.0032 times 0.08. So I want you to attempt this problem just in a few seconds and see if you can come out with a good answer. So I want you to pause this video just for a few minutes, a few seconds. Now this would be my solution. Right, so on part A we want to evaluate 0.005 multiplied by 0.7. So what you do when you're multiplying decimals is first you ignore the decimal points and just multiply the figures, the digits that we have, as if they were integers. So I'll be just taking 5 and 7 and just multiply 5 and 7, and you know I get 35. So with my 35 in place, remember we just ignored the decimal points, just multiplied the digits, right? So I then go on to count the total number of digits to the right of the decimal points in the numbers being multiplied. So I go back to the numbers that are being multiplied, 0.05 by 0.7, and I count, according to this, count the total number of digits to the right of the decimal point, right, to the right. So if I go on to 0.005 to the right of the decimal point, right, I have got 1, 2, 3 digits, and on 0.7 I have only 1 digit after the decimal point. So in total we have got 4 digits to the right of the decimal points. So that is the total number of digits to the right of the decimal points in the numbers being multiplied. So that's 4, and what that means is that this total will be equivalent to the number of digits to the right of the decimal point in the product. So if we have a total number of digits after the decimal point in the numbers being multiplied being 4, that means that this number 4 will be the total, will be equivalent to the number of digits to the right of the decimal points in the product. So from our 35, that means that I go on to the 35, and remember, if I have just a number like 35, the decimal point will be just in front of 5, to the right of 5. So for me to be having that number of digits to the right of the decimal point in the product, then I then have to move that decimal point 4 decimal places backward. So if I have my decimal point here, that means that I'll be moving 1, 2, and I add a 0 there since there's no more digit, and I also move 3, and I put on a 0 right there since there's no more digit there, and I also move 4, and that'll be it. My decimal point will come here, and I put a 0 just behind that, so that I'll be having in total 4 digits after the decimal point, 1, 2, 3, 4 after the decimal point in the product, right? So that will give me a solution of 0.0035, and that's the answer right there. So I hope you have just seen and understood what I just did, and I hope you came out with the right answer when you were attempting part A. The secret thing, the important thing is to first ignore the decimal point, multiply the figures as if they were integers, count the number or the total number of digits to the right of the decimal points in the numbers being multiplied, and then that number of digits will become the number of digits also to the right of the decimal point in your product, and you move, it's like you're moving your decimal point to the left, that number of equivalent to the number of digits. In this case it was 4 times, so I had to move the decimal point 4 decimal places to the left so that I can have 4 digits after the decimal point. Or let's go on to part B and see if we can do the same. We've got 0.0032 times 0.08. So if you had not yet worked out part B, you can also pause the video and start working on it. I can give you just a little bit of time to work on part B, see if you can apply what you learned on part A on part B. So you may pause the video right now. Alright, so this would be my solution right here. I multiply 32 and 8, ignoring the decimal points, just multiplying the integers, the numbers, the figures as integers. 32 times 8 will give us 256. So I take the 256 and I count on the numbers being multiplied right here. I count the total number of digits after the decimal point. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This is the total number of digits after the decimal point in the numbers being multiplied. So that means that I go on to 256. Remember, I have got 6 in total digits, so I go on to 256. That is where my decimal point is. I move 1, 2, I have to move 6 times, so 2, 3, I put a 0 behind it since there's no more digit, and I move 4, I place a 0 again, and I move 5, 0 again, and I move 6, and my decimal point will be right here, and I put a 0 just behind that, so that my solution comes out as 0.000256, like that. So that's the simple method of multiplying decimals, and the procedure is all laid out in this example. If you haven't understood it, you can also play back the video, start over again slowly. Make sure that you are getting everything that's important when we're talking about multiplying decimals.